If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
Hey, it's Glenys here. Just to let you know that even though the quality in this audio isn't first rate, the information certainly is. Please excuse the audio quality and focus on the education and what you'll learn in this interview. Our guest today is Danielle Keogh. Danielle's a dressage specialist, rider, trainer, coach. She competes up to FEI level. She runs a busy training and agistment stable at the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. She's also got 3 sponsors: Picture the Moment Equine, Collection Equestrian Boutique, and LP Equestrian. And as well as that, Dani's a physiotherapist and Pilates instructor, and she helps riders with lower back and pelvic pain. So we'll be talking about that a bit later in the interview. How are you, Dani?
I'm very good, thank you very much.
Good, good. Now, Dani, you've got a favourite quote for us that you're going to talk about?
I guess I have a few quotes, but I definitely kind of try to live by this one. Success doesn't come with what you do occasionally, it comes with what you do consistently. Unfortunately, I think with dressage and with horses, you have to be consistent to achieve success. Yeah,
it's very good to go to a clinic or go somewhere and learn something and get all inspired and say, right, that's what I'm going to do, and come back and ride a couple of times and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be consistent, hasn't it? It's got to be there at regular basis. You know, every day you've got to be thinking about progression. Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
Yep. Now, this particular quote, did you get told it? Did you read it? How did you come across it?
I actually read this all the time, I guess, especially with social media, you come across things. But also I have been working not only as a physiotherapist but with dressage and coaching for a while. So you tend to hear things amongst other athletes, and because I think that quote can pertain to a lot of different things, not just horses. So came by that many years ago.
Okay. Now, when did you actually start with horses? Do you have first memories of the day that you first started with horses?
Yes, very clearly. I actually started with horses when I was 4. My parents took me on a trail ride, and that was kind of it for me. Unfortunately, I hounded them nearly every day to continue riding horses. So that's how I actually started. And then it just really progressed from there.
Now, the day that you went on the trail ride, do you remember the horse's name or remember anything particular incident that happened on that day?
The horse was called Big Red, but he wasn't that big. I was only 4, but I think he was big for me.
Yep.
He was very, very gentle. I just loved him. It was a really good experience, and my parents were there, and because they weren't horsey at all, they just decided to take us out.
Yep. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, to do with your career with horses, you were actually working with horses while you were still at school, weren't you? Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yes, that's correct. I started working with horses probably when I was about 10. There was a local riding school, and every weekend I'd want to go there, and obviously it was just free work, free labour, cleaning out stables and things like that. But to actually get a lesson, I used to have to do chores at home and pocket money to get the lesson. So that's how I first started working with horses. And then as I became a little bit older and into my teens, we moved to Hong Kong, and I used to ride and train the X-race horses there for them.
Yeah, because they get quite a few X-race horses there. Yeah. All right, so that was your career. And then what happened after school? Did you go straight into horses, straight into physiotherapy? How did that work?
I actually went straight into horses. I did get into university, but I wasn't sure. I really just wanted to work with horses. So my parents were great. They said, okay, go overseas and see how you go. So I did. And I went over there, and I went actually because I was much more into show jumping, and I went to a couple of show jumping yards. But while I was over there, I decided that I wanted to get my coaching accreditation. So I ended up at a dressage yard with a very good coach and trainer, and then that's when my passion for dressage, I guess, started. And that's when I continued on with the coaching and the dressage. But after a couple of years of doing that, my parents convinced me that I really needed to get a degree just in case something happened. I couldn't continue with horses. So I came back to Australia and got my physiotherapy degree and then moved on from there.
Yeah, so now though because you're doing a bit of a combination of both, aren't you? You've got your horses that you ride and train, your adjustment and training, your physiotherapy, and also your riders that you help with the physiotherapy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's been great actually to be able to meld the two a little bit. And definitely when I coach riders, my eye for biomechanics and movement and dysfunction is definitely a lot better and a lot sharper, and I think that I can help them that way.
Yep.
And a lot of riders come to me as a physiotherapist for their back or hips or things like that, and I definitely think I can offer them something along those lines as well.
Good. What do you think if someone's going to work in the horse industry, and not particularly as a physiotherapist, but just work, because you've worked in show jumping yards, in dressage, you've trained horses, you've done a lot professionally before you're working for yourself. What do you think they need to have as core skills or character traits?
To really, I think, work in the horse industry, you have to make sure that you have the ability to work hard, and that's not just physically but also mentally. It takes a lot of mental toughness, I think, to work with horses. I think there are so many ups and downs and with the horses, and you have to be able to ride through all of those with an even keel, and if it's really what you truly want, you'll be able to find a way and make sure you're just not distracted, I guess, by things that might give you a down turn or again, say, give you an upturn. But I definitely think that you need that resilience, dedication, motivation, belief, all those things, I think. But definitely you need that mental and physical toughness.
Yep. What do you think the best thing is about working in the horse industry?
It's amazing, really, working with horses and these animals. I feel incredibly privileged to be able to ride them. I think they humble us daily, and for me, they give me so much joy. I think I'm really lucky to be able to do it every day. I think that's probably the best thing about horses is just that joy, I think, that you can and that they give you.
It is a lot of joy, isn't it? What about people who've influenced you?
People? I think when I went over to the UK and started working there, I ended up in the dressage yard. I ended up with a lady called Pammy Hutton and Jenny Lawson-Clark from the UK. She was another very good dressage rider. They influenced me quite significantly along that path, and they really taught me a lot about horse management, competition management, and then, of course, dressage itself. Yep.
Good. And that got you started, as you said, had that introduction to dressage, and then you haven't looked back from there.
Yes, that's correct. Unfortunately, that's where my passion went. I left the show jumping. I don't know if I'll be able to even see a stride now. I definitely love the dressage, and I love the how much technique you need, and definitely where my passion lies.
Good. What about horses? You must have had horses or a horse that's particularly influenced you and helped you along the way.
I think my first horse it influenced me. The first pony that I got, Patchy, my parents finally succumbed to my constant nagging, and I got a real pony. And the reason why I think he kind of influenced me, because that was the first time I had to actually manage, look after, care for, ride, and I had to earn pocket money to try and feed him as well and go to lessons. So I think that really hit home about how much it took to take care of a horse, and I didn't look back. But my first kind of horse that I think really influenced me was a horse called Belcam Argentina. She was really my first good horse, and she was extremely talented. Unfortunately, it broke my heart. I had to sell her, literally, but she went to an exceptional home and went on to be quite successful, and I think that she was probably my most influential horse.
Good. What about your proudest moment? Was she the one that you had your proudest moment on, or what do you think your proudest moments have been?
I think I've got lots of proud moments, both small and large. I mean, daily I think, wow, that was fantastic. This horse has finally got it. But definitely she was the first horse that I did well at big competitions, 2-star, state levels, got into national. She was the first horse that I actually started to really do well on.
Mm-hmm.
So, winning it at state level, that's kind of, wow, that was good.
Good. Just to do with that, because you've got sponsors. So have you been approached by sponsors? Do you approach sponsors? You've got 3 sponsors. Now, people want sponsors just to fall out of the sky and come along and give them the most fabulous things so that they can just retire with their horse and get sponsored and have everything paid for. Tell me a bit about how you're laughing. But, this, I think it's not going to just happen. But how did this happen that you've got 3? Do they approach you? Do you approach them? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm incredibly lucky. The sponsors I have are absolutely fantastic, and they actually did approach me. But it doesn't really always work like that. Usually, you do have to kind of put applications in, or a lot of people do look for sponsors, and then you put applications in, or you approach people as well, and just maybe put in a letter, or just ask them if they would be looking for someone. Mm-hmm. Social media is massive, so you don't always have to have runs on the board for sponsors to want to put their brand with you. But you definitely have to be out there showing off their brand, and either by social media, which is huge, or out at competitions, out at clinics, things like that. I think for sponsors to give these things, I think I have to reciprocate as best I can. I have to put their name wherever I go, put it forward kind of thing, and help them out just as much as they're helping me out.
Yes, because the reason that they are even sponsoring you, ultimately they're in business to make money, to get sales, when it all boils down.
Yeah.
So you've got to do whatever you can. You've got to like the product in the first place, but then you've got to be able to recommend the product to other people and put yourself in the position, whether it's as a high-level rider or quite active on social media, to put yourself and their brand out in front of people.
That's exactly right. So, like you said, at the end of the day, it's to make money. So if the more people that see me in their clothing, the more people see me with their bandages and saddle cloths, the more it's just out there, and more people click on it, more people go to their website, and that just generates, obviously, its own kind of income and things like that.
Yep. What do you think's been your biggest challenge on your way to being where you are now?
My biggest challenge, I would definitely say when I sold my mare Delta in Argentina, and I went overseas, coming back and starting again, finding another horse and doing it all again, and no one knows you, and it's really difficult to break back into the world, and it takes so much work, and you just have to really want it, I guess, and because there's lots of sacrifices that you have to do, and I think that's been the biggest challenge, just having that one direction, that one goal, and just not looking in any other direction, keep looking ahead, and just meeting each thing as it comes, and that's probably the biggest challenge.
Because ideally you've got a couple of horses, you've got the main horse that you're competing on, plus a secondary horse, and even maybe a young horse that's coming on. What advice would you say for someone who finds themselves in the position you were, where they've been out, they've competed, but now they're without a horse and they'd like to just be able to get back into it and start again and start with their first horse again? What would you say to them?
It really depends on the bank balance. I had to start very young, not even broken in, and build back up. But if you have a little bit more money, it's always good to have a horse that's already a little bit along the way. It just saves so much time and training, I think. And a lot of the time, there are exceptionally good horses out there and really good trainers who have started the horses. So you can get something that's already going, you're already out into the competition ring. But if you get something green, even though you might think that you grow with it and you love it and all that kind of stuff, you're looking at 2 or 3 years before you really get into serious competition.
Yep. If you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now, have a look, horsechats.com. Now, I want you to put on your physiotherapist hat now, because you said that you often, when you're coaching people, you can look at the way their body's aligned, look at the biomechanics and fix up some problems.
Yeah.
What's a common problem or common problems that you do see, and also what can the riders do to fix them?
The most common problem is really the seat problem. There are different types of seat positions, and really the two most common are either the fork seat or the perch seat, or the slumped or couch seat. They're the two main rider problems that you see, because everything really stems from that. Your leg position, your upper body position, how you hold your hands, the strength that you have in your upper body really comes from that pelvic position in the saddle. So I think if you can correct that and help riders correct that, what it can do is then loosen the hips to allow longer legs, freedom of movement. It can allow the upper body to sit up taller, it can allow the shoulder blades to sit in a better position. And giving riders, especially if riders have horses that they ride, 8 to 9 horses every day, so I think they can practice it on the horse, which functionally is fantastic. But everyone doesn't have that opportunity, so you have to do so much on the ground then to try and build the strength in the correct muscles to be able to transfer that into the saddle and on a moving thing, So I think you really have to work hard off the horse to be able to correct those movement dysfunctions.
I think that's coming back to, it doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you're doing, I think you said, all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I guess that's why I love that quote. You have to do it's daily dedication, and it's not just getting out and riding the horse. I mean, if you expect that horse to be able to make all these changes and feel uncomfortable in its body and do all these amazing things for you, well, I think you should be sure that when you're sitting in that saddle, you're balanced and you're making the corrections and you're making sure that you're in the right position as well.
Yep. Danielle, have you got a book that you can recommend?
Well, I love Carl Hester's books. So he's got 2 kind of training books, and I think Down to Earth Dressage is one, and maybe Real Dressage or Real Life Dressage. Both his books are fantastic. I mean, obviously he's well renowned. He's a fantastic trainer, but also when you read those books, you just think, right, I can give it a go. It's not complicated. You just have to. You're going to make mistakes, but you have to learn from your mistakes, and but it's just try. So
Okay.
He gives you a little bit of bravery, I think, in the saddle.
Yeah. All right, we'll get the details of those books off you and put them on your page, which will be horsechats.com/Danielle Keogh, or just go and search for Danielle in horsechats.com to find that page. Now, Dani, what are you looking forward to? What does your future hold?
Well, I have a couple of very good horses that I'm riding at the moment, and I really hope I get both of them to Grand Prix. One of them is coming up to Grand Prix in the next couple of years, and then the younger than there, she's kind of stepping up to medium this year, so I just hope that I treat them well and I get them all the way to Grand Prix, and then obviously, who knows from there. You just have to see how far we can go, really.
Good. And I'm sure that you'll keep working on them consistently as well.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to sum up your philosophy with horses just into a lesson today so listeners can take that away with them?
It probably would go back to my same quote. I mean, you just have to remember that really there are always people who are better than you and have more than you or might have better opportunities, but just know that no one can work harder for you. And the dedication and determination than you, that's just up to us, and that's our responsibility. So if you really want to work for it, you just have to work hard and be consistent.
Yes. And I think that's it. It's the consistency, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And Dani, how can people contact you?
They can contact me through my page on Facebook, so Danielle Keogh Dressage, and my phone number is on there as well. I haven't listed my email, but I'm on there all the time, so they just have to send me a message, and I reply fairly quickly. Yeah, I reply fairly quickly.
Perfect.
And my phone number is on there. They can send me a text as well.
And those details will be on horsechats.com/Danielle Keogh, or just go to horsechats.com and search for Danielle and you'll find it. Danielle, thank you very much for talking to us today. It's been great talking to you as a physiotherapist, but also as a coach and someone who is riding at a high level, so understands the rider's position and also has that depth of knowledge. So you're sort of using your training, to complement each other. So thanks for talking to us today, and hope to talk to you again sometime soon.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wait, before you go, if you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now, have a look, horsechats.com.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.